left to right. Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter.
Real quick. Harden took the jump ball tonight.
That's amazing what they're doing over there, man. That's amazing. Is that revolutionary, or is that a thing that's going to stay for a while? What do you think?
I have no idea. I don't think it's going to work at all. I think they give it 10 games before they're like, oh, shit, this was a terrible idea.
I think it works when you have like guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, like shit like that. But nah, this ain't gonna happen. I respect it though. I think it's pretty ballsy. All right, so on tap for today, we're going to react to the Sixers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The Sixers lost to the Bucks 112-101. They moved to 31-21 on the season. That is their fifth straight road loss. They moved to 9-19 on the road. Joining us today is the Austin at Krell TPL on Twitter. What's up, Austin?
The name is now changed back. I am no longer NBA trade sleuth Austin. I am no longer 33-8-24 in honor of Kobe. I am back to just regular Austin Krell, and I am here to be your painted lines NBA insider outside of the Sixers now. No one saw this, but I actually broke the news that DeMar DeRozan wouldn't be traded today. I had that report out before Chris Haynes did. Anyway, back to more important things to talk about. I am just fine.
Debatable. More important things. Long story short, before we get into some really painful shit here, what was your overall take on the Sixers trade deadline day, man?
I thought that they did what we all thought they were going to do. I mean, I think we all kind of expected them to make a move, not because like it was just so obvious or like, they're a contender, but because they're just under so much pressure. I mean, things haven't been going well at all lately. You desperately need depth. You need to change things up a little bit, get a different look in there in that lineup, and add some scoring. I thought it was. I thought they did it almost probably for the vast majority because of the backlash that would have been if they hadn't made a move. Like especially like everyone knew that Alec Burks was going to cost a second-round pick. That's it. Yeah. Like so if you don't do that, you're giving up on the season. You're basically saying like we know we can't be good enough anymore. But the kudos to them. They did it. They made a move. They did so when everyone knew they were desperate to do so, and they didn't have to give up real assets to do it. So I give kudos to Elton Brand, who, by the way, I don't even think Elton Brand's a bad GM. Yeah. People think he's terrible. I don't think he's bad. I think it's completely blasphemous and ridiculous to say that he's a bad GM. But that's just me.
I fully agree, man. I thought it was a solid trade day for the Sixers. All right, here we go. This is my third pod of the day. Besides going to see Birds of Prey with my wife tomorrow, this is like literally the first movie I'm seeing with my wife in like 6 months. We have a 6-month-old. So it has been, we're movie people, so I can't wait to go see the movie tomorrow morning. And this is my Jack and Jameson right here. I'm sorry, Jameson and Ginger right here.
I can see why you're laughing.
Keeping me going, man. That's my tackling fuel. That's keeping me going. All right, let's talk about our top takeaways from this game. Brutal game. I got to lead off with Joel Embiid because that is the biggest hot take right now. And it leads off with Shaquille O'Neal. The TNT broadcast absolutely killed Joel Embiid today. What was your take on that?
So regarding Joel Embiid and Shaquille, I mean, I do think that Shaquille O'Neal isn't some slouch that you just shake, like dust off like a fly. Like when Kendrick Perkins talks, I laugh because I mean,
he was right though. There's no he called out Brett Brown like he should have today.
Who?
Kendrick Perkins. Did you see his interview like on, I think it's called First Take today? He called out Brett Brown. He said that Brett Brown is the elephant in the room, that no matter what the Sixers do on trade day, it is Brett Brown, the elephant in the room. So I agree with Kendrick Perkins a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick Perkins prided himself on being this like super honest, like tough guy. If we're being super honest here, no one respects a guy who averaged like 5 points a game for his career. So I mean, like he's better off just fading in the distance and like not existing, to be honest. But you know, he's an NBA player. It makes it looks good for TV, I guess. I have zero respect for Kendrick Perkins. I mean, he's nothing to me. And this will be on YouTube, so I'm sure this will go viral, and I'll get killed for this as well. But yeah, I mean, listen, Shaq is a champion. He's been an MVP. He's been an All-Star his entire career. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. When Shaq talks, I listen, and Shaq's right. Embiid is being soft right now. That doesn't mean now. I know in the city of late we've been sensationalizing literally everything. It's either going to be everything is at the top of the world or everything is like we're going to die, all of us right now, imminently. So you know, the reality of the situation is, yes, Embiid needs to start to realize like, hey, there's a very real chance that this team is not doesn't have home court in the first round. And if they don't have that, they're fighting an uphill battle because they just seem to not be able to win on the road. And so he has to take it upon himself. Look, everyone's hurt. It's late in the season. Everyone gets banged up. It's inevitable, part of the game. You are the superstar player on the team. You're getting paid like that star. You know, it is your team. You cannot be disengaged. You cannot, mope around and sulk. And I got news for you. He says, like, I'm sacrificing a lot. Joel, everyone knows you need a ball to be engaged. If you have to get yourself engaged, that means saying, get out of the way, clear out to the other side. You'll see him pulling it across the court, and Horford will go set an off-ball screen and fade into the corner. And Embiid has the entire other side of the court to himself to work. This is on Joel Embiid to figure his own shit out. He has to get himself in a position where he has the dominant advantage and exploit it and go for it. I mean, it's on him to put himself in a position to succeed and engage. Brett Brown can put him in the right spots on the floor, but Joel Embiid has to do it. And he always says, it's not the coach's fault. You're right, it isn't. The coach can't, like, the coach is fighting for his job right now, begging you, but it is probably, in his mind, begging you to take over a game. So you have to do it yourself. Now, I think there are things that are factors that we're not really taking account of. One being that his hand was due to be healed, or he was due to be cleared for basketball 3 to 5 weeks. 3 to 5 weeks from the surgery date. The surgery date, I believe, took place on January 9th or 10th. It is now February 6th. He's been back playing basketball for over a week now. He's clearly not ready to play yet. That hand is still clearly very much so injured. And he's been playing essentially with one hand the last couple games. He came back for the Kobe game because it's an emotional thing for him. I get it. But he is not healthy. It's admirable what he's trying to do. I wouldn't call it so asinine to say that Joel Embiid, or the Sixers, I should say, are probably better off right now for the short time being without Joel Embiid. Now, in the long run, that does not mean I want to trade Joel Embiid. No. You don't have to be one or the other. It's that he's frustrating right now. He needs to be better, and he's clearly not in shape. A, and B, he is clearly injured. And I also have another thing to say about people who say he's not in shape. We all act like every other NBA player is in shape when they take a 30-day hiatus or whatever because they're injured. The only way you stay in basketball shape is by actually playing basketball games. That's the only way. Practice doesn't do it. You can run 12 minutes and practice all the time and not be in shape. You have to play actual basketball games to be in shape. So I don't care if you're Embiid, you're Rudy Gobert, you're Rudy Gay, you're Rudy Tomjanovich, whoever the hell you are. Rudy this guy, Rudy that guy, Rajon Rondo, whoever you want to be. You don't come back and you're automatically ready to go in shape. It takes time to get that wind back, to get those legs back when you've been out for a while. So the in shape thing is completely over dramatized. No one knows what he's actually eating in his free time. No one actually knows how serious his health is. We're all just speculating for clicks. Is essentially what's going on here. And people are eating it up because they don't know how to react to it.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, man. I think you absolutely nailed it. And I mean, I look at Embiid. Is there a more talented yet frustrating player in the NBA right now than Joel Embiid? And that's where I go every single time. This guy just looks 0% engaged in the game right now. He looked like I called him on my Blue Root Twitter page a carbon copy of Nelson Aguilar. This guy is trying too hard. He's overthinking.
Whoa!
Yeah, man. This guy is so fucking in his head right now that he doesn't know what he's doing, and he should not be out there, injury or not. This guy is just not himself, man. You see him moping in transition and not getting back on defense again and again and again. He's getting beat. I don't know what the points in the paint were from the Bucks, but I'm pretty sure they kicked the Sixers' ass tonight. That's unacceptable, man. And when you look at Embiid shooting 3 of 10 from the free throw line, dude, this guy should not.
No. It was 4 of 7 from the free throw line, 3 of 10 from 3. Now, go finish your point, and then I'll make my next 6 points.
Go ahead, man.
No, it's your podcast. I'm
no, man. Go ahead.
Okay. I understand that Joel Embiid shooting threes is not what you want. Look at the court tonight. Look at where the players were on the Bucks on defense. That was the only thing they were giving the Sixers. They guarded the Sixers exactly how the Sixers guarded Giannis, and that was, we'll give you outside shots all day. We're going to clog the paint. And there's only so much space on the court, right? So the threes, while they're not what you want, they're not what the Boomers want. They want him, 1 foot at the block at all times. That's a nice theory until you elbow somebody in the face, and then you have a technical, you have a flagrant one because there's no space. In order the offense can only run efficiently when you're being guarded like that with them outside on the perimeter. And so, it was, and even when they got inside, nothing was falling. Embiid wasn't making shots. Al was missing everything. So you had to step outside to get looks. Yeah. So you had to step outside to get looks. And they were going down. Embiid hit, I think, 3 threes. Horford hit 5 threes tonight. They went down. So I don't have an issue with a number of 3-point attempts. So I do think that it's difficult to sort of navigate that where that is. But I will say this. I will say that Brett Brown, I feel very bad for. I do. And I think he ultimately has not done enough to keep his job or to warrant the argument to keep his job. And I think pretty much no matter what, he'll be gone at the end of the season. I think he knows it. I think it's inevitable at this point. But I do think I thought about this last night. It is worth pointing out that the best year that the roster was constructed, and Simmons' rookie year, they had JJ Redick, they had Ersan Ilyasova, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Marco Bellinelli, all of these guys who could shoot the ball, and they were shooting the ball really well. They were the 3 seed. They won 16 games in a row. They got bludgeoned in the second round because of coaching differences, but under the best roster construction last year they had no depth. This year they have no shooting or any depth. The best year of the roster construction, they surpassed all odds and they beat every expectation in the book. So I do think that he is a coach who is better than we give credit for. He has to scheme very awkwardly because he has 2 such opposite stars, so he has to make work together, even though they're so different. And I think the roster construction is just so horrendous that it's really an impossible position. Now, I'm not defending him. This is a roster that he signed off on, and ultimately he's going to fall on the dagger for it. But I do think that in a sense, he's been put in an impossible position, and the ability of him, the coach, the ability of his of him as a coach is not as horrendous as we make it out to be. I think he's a fine coach, not the best coach in the world. He's certainly not the worst coach in the world, like everyone insinuates he is. The roster construction has been flawed. He has no support of ownership. Ownership had the entire starting five in the Super Bowl box with them partying while Brett Brown isn't there. The message is you don't have to listen to your coach. We back you no matter what. That's the message that you're sending. How is he supposed to win with this situation? He can't. It's impossible. So do I give it tonight? They lost the game when he took Embiid out, when Embiid got hot and they were down 5. Remember that? That was when they lost the game. That was when the Bucks went on a run. So he lost the game for them, in some ways tonight. But I don't think that, he's going to be scapegoated, but I think that he's a better coach than what he's been given credit for.
I agree. Brett Brown is fine, but when do the excuses stop? When do we start moving the needle and just say enough is enough? Because I'm a Brett Brown guy, man. You know this. And I've always backed Brett Brown. And over the last 2 months, I said this in my other 2 pods. This is a common topic right now. Of course it is. But Brett Brown has just completely lost the team. He's lost the players. This is a player's coach. And when obviously these kids in this locker room don't play with you. I mean, Shaq talked about how there are no leaders on this team. He couldn't have been more accurate. The fact that where's Al Horford? Where's Tobias Harris? Tobias Harris came into this season saying that he was going to be the number 1 leader on this team. You look at Ben Simmons, you look at Joel Embiid. There's no alpha on this team. No one wants to take the shot. There's no chemistry. There's no urgency. They literally look like they're playing in coast mode, in cruise mode. This entire 4-game stretch. This is a really good tweet by my man T Scabia on Twitter. Sums up pretty well here. The Sixers lost.
Thiago.
Yeah, man, he's the man. The Sixers lost the last 4 games by a combined 73 points since Christmas. No, he said that they lost the last 4 games by a combined 73 points, and he said Christmas 2019 feels like 17 years ago. I love it. I can't even remember the Sixers versus the Bucks on that Christmas game, man.
And remind me, who was in the lineup for that game?
Like I said, I don't even remember.
Josh Richardson was in the lineup for that game.
Highly medicated on Christmas, so.
Josh Richardson. And by the way, we're missing a key cog in all this. Their road record sucks. They're a horrible road team. We get it. They've played 9 games total with their starting 5 from opening night on the road.
Doesn't mean when you're a road team in the playoffs, man. If you're not a
no, I understand. I just think that there's a context there that is missing that has to be addressed. It isn't like they're this is the starting 5 that should be there. Why aren't they better? When Embiid has been out, they've had Embiid out for periods of time. They've had Josh out for 2 extended periods of time. The only people who've been there all season long are Ben, Al, and Tobias. When you don't have that continuity, and as a result, you have to bring guys off the bench that's taking away from your depth to fill the starting lineup. That hurts your team. So, I think Josh is an important part of this team. I think he's a leader. He drove that meeting behind closed doors. But but the proof is in the pudding. Your record is what it says you are. And right now, they're not a very good basketball team. It's certainly true. I would be much more concerned, though. I'd be much more concerned, and I'm going to tweet this out later, too, if they had lost tonight by 30 points. I would have been much more concerned because that would show a team that has no heart, doesn't care, has no dignity.
My buddy texted me saying, this is the first Sixers game I've watched in over a month. And I'm like, he goes, this is the worst Sixers game I've ever seen. I'm like, this is the best Sixers game they have played.
And they beat the Lakers 2 weeks ago.
Dude, it doesn't even feel like 2 weeks ago. It feels like forever ago. My whole take on that, man, these hypothetical situations that we keep talking about, when are they going to be fully healthy? What has shown you this season that they're going to be fully healthy in the playoffs? And, the MCU has a what-if show that comes out in 2021. Can we make that with a Sixers edition? Because this bullshit we about the Sixers are going to have this, there's going to be this rainbow come out of and a Sixers parade right after that, the end of the rainbow. This is not working out, man. This is looking like very much exactly like the Eagles season of the past 2 years, man. It is dreadful. The Sixers went from having fun, Joel Embiid making jokes. It is joyless. Embiid looks like he's miserable. This is as low as it gets for the Sixers right now.
And yet they're still 10 games above 500.
This is embarrassing to have this much talent and you're not. I mean, they're trending downward, man. I don't know how you can.
Yes, they are. I'm not defending anything. They are trending downward right now, but you also have to put it in the context of, and they're still a pretty good basketball team. They're still they're a far cry from the worst team in the NBA, right? They're a far cry from the worst team in the East. They're literally 10 games up on the 7th seed. So, things are not going well right now. But let's look at the positives for a second. They you can't even handle it.
Hey, man, this is good. Yeah, I want what you're drinking tonight, man. That's good shit, man. God, you're killing me, dude.
Let's look at the positives.
All right.
They have the easiest schedule remaining in the NBA for the last 30 games of the year.
They don't win against bad teams ever.
What do you mean? What do you mean? But they lose one game to the Hawks and the whole season's over?
Oh God. All right.
They have the easiest schedule in the NBA for the remainder of the season. They have 30 games left. They've already played 28 on the road. That means that they have 17 at home and 13 on the road left. And they're all against the easiest teams that you can think of in the NBA. All you have to do is go 20-10 or 25-5 over the. Well, that sounds like a lot to ask for at this point, but like 22-8, and you are in a fine spot. I mean, they have some, and then by the way, the other teams in the conference have played Bush League schedules throughout the course of the year. Don't think I don't watch the Heat or the Bucks or the Pacers or the Celtics or the Raptors. They've had pretty easy schedules while the Sixers have been getting beat up on all I'm not done yet, damn it, all season long. So things, while bleak at the moment, you have to take the long view.
It's the longest fucking moment I've ever had in my life, man.
Look at the. I mean, they got the exact dosage of the Raptors last year that made them rethink everything. Like, Kawhi sat his ass out for what, half the season? I think about it was literally like he missed 20-something plus games. They load managed it. They load managed him perfectly. He was an absolute animal in the playoffs. Were they a better built team? Absolutely. They have a better coach? Absolutely. Star players win games in the playoffs for you. Sixers have 2.5 of them. So don't give me that look. I know what you're thinking. Don't give me that look.
This is a different team, man. This is a team that cannot defend the pick and roll. They're going to get rolled, pun intended, by Miami, Boston, Toronto, any teams that runs a pick and roll. I'm very excited to see what Alec Burks can do in the pick and roll, especially offensively. But, man, I don't see the blueprint. I don't see the team identity. I don't see the toughness on defense that was supposed to carry them this season. I knew the shooting was going to be a crapshoot this season. That was expected. What I didn't expect was the team to be so fucking clueless on the defensive end, and that's where I'm at. And I don't see that being fixed. You look, what signs have you seen other than Matisse Thybulle? He had like a couple blocks tonight. He looks fantastic. Shake Milton, I thought was good. What signs have you seen that the Sixers are getting an identity and that's going to carry them into the playoffs? Because I don't see anything, man.
Listen, just listen. It's about. Remember when Elton Brand signed Al Horford this summer, and he traded away all the draft. He sold the draft picks.
Yeah,
it was like it all makes sense soon. What if I told you that I think this team, and I'm almost certain this is going to go viral now because I'm the only person in the world who probably thinks this.
That's fine.
What if I told you that this team, I think, is the scariest 7-game matchup of any team in the NBA?
We discussed this, but what gives you evidence to say that they're going to have a full roster in the playoffs?
What happened to the roster? Where's the roster going to go?
They're not healthy. Jay Rich is
They're
out.
going to get. Listen.
They've
They've been very.
Like this happens, man. This is the real life of being a Philly sports fan. This shit happens.
That's where you answered the question that I was looking for. You said the life of a Philly sports fan. That was the answer that I knew was going to come out eventually. We are so ingrained in constant bad luck that any type of success makes us like rabbits, and then when you have a little bit of adversity, we all go absolutely absurd. This is all part of sports, and I understand that Embiid's body language is absolute dog shit right now. I really do. He's a human being, right? And as someone who works with human beings for a living, like both of us do, we understand how a team sport and a team not succeeding can have an effect of cascading down onto everybody. When you're losing, everything blows, right? Everything's fucking sucks. When you're winning, no one cares because everything's great. Everyone's happy. Everyone's winning. When you're losing, of course, Embiid's gonna suck. The body language is gonna suck. He will be fine. He'll be fine. Right. We've seen what he can do. We've seen the people who want to trade Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons, I'm getting ready to block every single one of them. I don't block people on Twitter. I'm getting ready to block every single one of them because you don't trade two cornerstones for 25 and 23.
No, I would.
People forget what Joel Embiid has done the last 2 years.
Right.
I mean, he has willed this team to 50-win seasons, 2 seasons in a row, and because he has a couple, he's having a tough year, whatever it is. People are ready to give up. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what is this? Now,
no one here is suggesting that. No.
And if you are part of TPL and you think that, it's time for you to take a long walk off of a short bridge.
Really?
So, and don't actually do that though. That's my liability. I'll be held responsible for that. So, the one takeaway I want from tonight is this: they played with a level of intensity that was encouraging to see. They had the attitude and the effort that I thought they needed to have. They came out like they actually gave a shit. They simply lost to a team that's a good-ass team. That's all that happened tonight. Now, does it feel way worse than it actually is because they're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak on the road? Yes. It feels way worse because of that. This is just another loss in reality. It is. It's another loss. This team Milwaukee is a very good team. And, if the Sixers can come out like this every night going forward, I'm not concerned about anything. I'm not.
All right, let's wrap this up. Make sure you follow Austin at Phil Jackson Zen TPL on Twitter. Krell TPL on Twitter. That is Austin. For Austin, for myself. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah.